Hey guys, Josh here from Moment Productions. Today I'm going to be talking about the 5 best editing tools to use in Final Cut Pro. These tools are definitely going to make your videos a ton better. And we're going to start off with the strongest and most powerful tool in Final Cut Pro, and that is masking. Masking allows you to create seamless transitions. It can help you get rid of things in your frame. I mean, it's honestly the best magic trick to use in any video editing software for that matter. So I did a ton of different tutorials on masking. I'm gonna break down one specific transition tutorial really quick for you guys, but if you want a more in-depth video on how to use masking properly, check out some of the cards right here. So we're gonna start off with a seamless transition. A seamless transition is exactly how it sounds. It takes us from one shot to the next without necessarily showing a hard cut. Basically what we're doing, we are going to be masking shots together so that way they blend in perfectly. So this also depends on how you shoot your video. Camera motion is actually a great way of adding some extra element to making this transition even smoother. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take these 2 shots right here, and I'm gonna create a transition out of it. So if we take a look at this shot, when I scrub through it, I actually have a countertop right here. And when we see a straight edge, it's very easy to create a mask and just trace out that straight edge. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to my effects panel here, and then I'm gonna put on the draw mask effect. And then I'm gonna go to the viewfinder here, go to 25% just so I have more space to play around with here. And I'm just gonna trace around the edge of the table here. Just like that, we're gonna connect all of the dots. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm going to actually make this mask follow the table. And I'm just gonna enable the transform options here. We're gonna keyframe the movement of the mask. And I'm gonna go keyframe by keyframe following the edge of the table. Now all we have left to do is just overlay that track to the previous video track, and that's how we're gonna get that seamless transition. To make it even better, we're gonna add a feather to the mask just to smooth things out. And there you go. That's a really nice way of creating a transition. Now there are better ways to create this effect. For example, I could have shot this video better. I would have probably matched the color. So for example, we see the chef here wearing a white jacket. I probably should have used another white object to help me create a better seamless transition. But the thing is that this transition is so fast, you won't even have time to pause the video and see the mask. It's just so quick, which is why it just blends in perfectly fine. Moving on to tool number 2, and this is fine-tune cutting. A lot of people don't know that this tool exists in Final Cut Pro, and I actually discovered it by accident. So basically what this allows you to do is it allows you to make very fine-tuned trims. So if we look at this clip right here, and I want to zoom in by hitting the Command+ button, and just make a trim right here, or a cut for that matter, and just cut out this clip right here, you can do that, that's perfectly fine. But what if you want to literally take off a millisecond or a frame from your clip? What is the best way to do that? Well, all you will have to do is just make a cut and then double click. And now we have the fine-tune editor. We can zoom in as much as we want, and we literally can just go frame by frame, making those fine-tune cuts. You can see how precise this tool is, and especially for getting rid of little bits of audio that you don't want in your shot or your video, this is just an easier way of making this work. Number 3, creating compound clips. This is also another tool that people rarely know about in Final Cut Pro. Basically, compound clips allows you to combine multiple clips into one. This is great for creating your own transitions and effects, and it also helps clean up your timeline. For example, if we have a look at this timeline right here, it looks pretty chaotic. Now I want to clean this up and actually add this project to another project for the final video. All you have to do is hit Command A, select all, and then right click and create a new compound clip, and you can name it whatever you like, and then hit OK. Now you have one solid clip with all of those elements that we just saw in that timeline, and you can add it to any project you want. Now let's say you want to create your own drop-down transition, which is actually another seamless transition that a lot of creators use. And by the way, I made a really good tutorial video in less than 1 minute on my Instagram page, so check me out at momentum_productions to see the full tutorial video. But to give a quick breakdown of how to do that, all we have to do is take 2 clips right here, and let's say I just want to create a drop-down action. Obviously, it works a lot better if we're following the actual camera movements, but if not, if it's very quick, then it's still okay. So for example, again, as I said earlier, if we want to transition from one clip to the next, we are going to just resize these 2 clips. We're going to go to scale. I'm going to type in 50%. I'm going to bring this clip up here. And then I'm going to go to the second clip and basically do the same thing. I'm going to go to scale, 50%, drop it down. And now I'm going to put this clip under this one. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a graduated mask. So there's actually multiple different types of masks that you can use in Final Cut Pro. A graduated mask is basically a mask that fades in and fades out. So I'm going to go to my effects panel here. I'm going to type in graduated mask. Here it is. And I'm just going to put it on the top clip here and make some minor adjustments to make both of the clips blend into each other. I'm going to go to the lower clip and actually bring it up just a little bit. And you can start to see both of the clips blending into each other. Great. Now we're going to highlight both clips. I'm going to create a new compound clip. Now all I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight the compound clip and I'm going to zoom in to the top clip 100%. I'm going to make some adjustments to the position here. Now I'm just going to create a keyframe on the y-axis and make the clip drop down to the bottom clip. Great, now we're just going to make some minor adjustments to make this effect better. As you can see here, when the drop down happens, I can still see the top clip in the shot. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little crossfade inside of this compound clip, which is right about here. I'm going to drag this out just a little bit. I'm going to add a crossfade and it will slowly fade out so that way we won't see the overlay of the top clip anymore. To make this even better, try to make this transition between colors that match up in both clips. Also, you can add some artificial motion blur to make it even more seamless and blend the clips better into each other. Don't forget that this is just a very basic tutorial and I'm just showing you how you can use compound clips in different ways. Again, don't forget to check out my Instagram page because I go much more into detail in those 1-minute tutorial videos on how to use those drop-down transitions. Now let's say you want to add your own motion blur. This is pretty easy and Final Cut has its own motion blur option that again, a lot of people don't know about. So let's play back this clip right here. There is a subtle speed ramp when the chef reaches for his knife. I want to create a motion blur effect over that speed ramp. And yes, I did a full comprehensive tutorial on speed ramping right here, so check that out too. So here's our clip, it's already speed ramped. All I'm going to do is hit the Option key, press on the clip, drag it up on top, and it's going to make a copy for me. And this is honestly like Photoshop, you want to work in layers. This is a lot easier to control and you can turn off the effects individually when you use these video layers. So now I'm just going to trim out the part where the speed ramp happens right here. I'm going to delete everything else and I'm going to drag and drop the directional motion blur effect. Just type in directional into the search and you'll find it. Now we can actually start messing around with the amount of motion blur. If we turn it on and off, you can see the difference. It gets a little bit fuzzier. And what we can do, we can actually add more. You see that? And this is how it looks like. So it's all right. We don't really like the effect of it jumping into motion blur. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a crossfade over it. I'm gonna lessen up the crossfade and I'm actually gonna take away some of that motion blur. It seems to be a little bit too much. Just about there. There we go. And now you can see the difference of having motion blur and no motion blur. Now the last little trick or tool, and actually it's kind of a hack in Final Cut Pro, and this has to do with reverbs. Let's say you have an audio track, and then you add an echo to it. But the audio track is so short that the echo doesn't really last, it just cuts off abruptly. For example, let me add an echo to this clip right here, which is just a little chime. So that's our audio clip. Now let me add an echo here by going to Cathedral, because that's probably my favorite echo effect or reverb. Now if we play back with the Cathedral effect, notice what happens. See how it just abruptly stops? And if we try to stretch out the clip, it just won't budge. It doesn't want to go out any further. So here's a little hack on how to solve this issue and how to make a nice fade out of this effect. All you have to do is just go a few frames before the end of the clip and then hit Shift H, which will actually freeze frame or hold the audio. And then we can actually add a nice fade out to this audio clip just by dragging this little keyframe that's at the edge of the audio right here. And now listen to the difference. You see, it's so much better than just having a hard cut, and with this little trick or hack in Final Cut Pro, you can make it last as long as you want. You don't have to just go by the timing of the actual sound or audio track. You can make it as long as you want. And that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this video has helped you out, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel with those notifications turned on, and I'll see you in another one. Peace!